The sun cast gentle rays through the ancient banyan tree, where the Buddha sat among his devoted disciples. His serene presence calmed the air, as the faint rustle of leaves whispered ancient wisdom. A distressed merchant approached, his face etched with the lines of worry and fatigue. Bowing deeply, the merchant said, "Master, I am trapped by burdens that weigh heavily on my soul." The Buddha listened without interruption, his eyes reflecting infinite compassion and understanding. "Master," the merchant continued, "my mind races endlessly, drowning me in regret and fear for what is yet to come." The Buddha gestured for the merchant to sit among the disciples, offering space for stillness and reflection. He then lifted a small, smooth stone from the ground, holding it delicately between his fingers. Addressing his disciples, the Buddha asked, "What do you see when I hold this stone aloft?" The disciples looked closely and replied, "We see a stone, small and insignificant in weight." The Buddha nodded and asked, "If I hold this stone for mere moments, will it burden me greatly?" The disciples shook their heads, replying, "No, Master, for moments carry little weight." The Buddha continued, "And if I carry it for hours, what then?" The disciples answered, "It will grow heavy and discomfort will follow." "And for a full day?" the Buddha asked with a steady tone. The disciples responded, "The weight will become unbearable, though the stone remains unchanged." Smiling gently, the Buddha said, "Stress is like this stone, unchanging in nature, yet growing in burden over time. It is not the stone itself, but the act of holding it, that magnifies its weight," he explained. Turning to the merchant, the Buddha said, "Your burdens are shaped by the manner in which you carry them. Release the weight of attachment to your worries, and freedom will follow like water quenching parched earth," he advised. The merchant furrowed his brows and asked, "Master, how do I release that which clings tightly to my thoughts?" "Acceptance," the Buddha replied, "is the path that transforms burdens into lessons and anxiety into peace. Do not resist the challenges, but embrace them as they come and go, like clouds against a clear sky," he added. The merchant sighed deeply, his shoulders relaxing slightly as wisdom began to settle in his heart. Observing his disciples, the Buddha added, "Attachment to the past and fear for the future rob us of present clarity. The weight of regrets and anticipations holds no power but what we give it within our minds," he said. The disciples nodded, each reflecting silently on the simple yet profound truth of the teaching. "Consider this stone," the Buddha said, holding it again for all to see. "It is small, yet becomes a mountain in the mind." Life's challenges are neither inherently crushing nor liberating. They are shaped by our relationship to them, he explained. Focus your energy on the present moment, for it alone holds the key to ease and understanding, he said gently. The merchant asked, "And what if new burdens arise? Master, how do we prevent being overwhelmed again?" The Buddha placed the stone gently on the ground, the action deliberate and mindful. "The act of placing the stone down is choice," he said. "A choice you carry within. Always cultivate mindfulness and gratitude, and you will find the strength to release your burdens each time they grow heavy," he advised. Burdens are fleeting when viewed through the lens of impermanence and compassion, the Buddha added thoughtfully. The merchant bowed deeply, a newfound calm spreading across his face and soul. The disciples sat in silence, absorbing the truth like rain nourishing the soil. "May this lesson guide you to peace," the Buddha concluded, his voice steady as the river of wisdom. The banyan tree stood witness to the teaching, its roots stretching into the earth as its leaves danced in harmony. The Buddha closed his eyes, embodying the stillness he had shared with those who gathered near. As the day's light waned, the merchant and disciples rose, feeling lighter with each step away. They carried with them the gift of understanding that burdens need not control the heart. The banyan tree whispered wisdom to the wind as they left, promising the eternal presence of truth. Another day, another dawn broke over the horizon, bathing the forest in golden light. The Buddha walked peacefully through the trees, his disciples following in quiet reverence. Birds sang melodies of the morning, their voices weaving harmony into the stillness. Yet, among the group, Devadatta appeared restless, his steps uneven and hurried. He turned to the Buddha, his face shadowed by fear. "Master," Devadatta said, "the forest teems with danger, hidden threats lurking in the unknown." The Buddha paused, gesturing for the group to sit near a flowering bush. He looked to Devadatta with understanding eyes. "Let me tell you a story," the Buddha said, his voice steady as a flowing stream. "Once, a man fled from a ferocious tiger. His heart pounding with terror, the Buddha began. As he ran, he slipped and fell into a pit, grasping desperately at a vine to save himself. Above him, the tiger snarled, pacing at the edge of the pit, ready to strike. The Buddha continued. Below him, another tiger prowled, its eyes fixed on the man's trembling form. The Buddha added. As he hung there, a mouse appeared and began gnawing at the vine he clung to for life. The disciples gasped, picturing the peril of the man caught between threats above and below. The Buddha smiled gently and continued. Amidst his terror, the man noticed a single strawberry growing beside him. Vibrant and red, he said. He plucked the strawberry and savored its sweetness. Momentarily forgetting the tigers and his dire situation, the Buddha concluded. Devadatta frowned, puzzled by the story, and asked, Master, how could the man enjoy the strawberry amidst such danger? The Buddha's gaze softened as he replied, the man understood that life's sweetness exists even in the shadow of uncertainty. Stress arises when we cling to fear of the future and regret of the past, the Buddha explained. In the present moment, peace and joy are found. Like the sweetness of the strawberry, he said. Devadatta's expression shifted as the wisdom began to sink into his heart. But Master, Devadatta asked, how do we protect ourselves when danger is real and near? Focus on what you can control and surrender the rest to the flow of life, the Buddha answered. The tigers remind us of life's unpredictability, yet they hold no power over our inner peace, he added. Fear is a shadow we cast on ourselves. The light of awareness dissolves it, the Buddha said calmly. The disciples sat in silence, reflecting on the simplicity and depth of the teaching. Every moment, whether joyful or perilous, carries the gift of presence, the Buddha continued. The sweetness of life is not in the absence of challenges, but in the way we embrace them, he explained. Gratitude is the thread that weaves calm into the fabric of uncertain times, the Buddha added. Thoughtfully, Devadatta nodded slowly, his restlessness fading like mist in the morning sun. The Buddha rose, and the group followed, their steps lighter and more mindful. The forest seemed less daunting, its dangers now seen as part of the sacred balance of existence. The Buddha looked to the sky, where the sunlight filtered through the canopy in beams of golden grace. May the sweetness of the strawberry remind you to live fully in the present, the Buddha said. The disciples bowed deeply, carrying the lesson within their hearts as they journeyed forward. The morning continued, but the fear that had gripped Devadatta dissolved into understanding and calm. The forest, with all its unseen perils, became a place of beauty and reflection for those who listened. The Buddha walked onward, his footsteps a testament to the power of mindfulness and wisdom. His disciples followed with renewed faith, their souls enriched by the light of his teachings. The birds sang still, their songs weaving joy into the quietude that carried the lesson forward. Another day, another journey led the Buddha and his disciples to the banks of a wide and tranquil river. The sunlight danced on the rippling waters, casting reflections that shimmered like jewels. An elderly farmer approached, kneeling respectfully before the Buddha with sorrow etched deeply on his face. "Master," the farmer began, "I have lost my land, my crops, and my possessions, and my life feels desolate." The Buddha knelt beside the farmer, his touch calming as he placed a hand gently on the earth. "What do you see in this river?" the Buddha asked, his voice steady and full of warmth. The farmer looked at the water, hesitating, and replied, "It flows endlessly, always moving, never resting." The Buddha nodded, his gaze thoughtful, and said, "Indeed, yet no drop of water remains the same as moments pass. Life, like this river, is ever changing, with each moment flowing into the next, never remaining fixed," the Buddha explained. The farmer furrowed his brow, struggling to grasp the meaning, his heart heavy with grief. "Master," he asked, "how can I accept loss and change when they leave my life so empty and cold?" The Buddha dipped his fingers into the flowing water, watching the droplets as they fell back into the river. "Change is the essence of existence. Resistance to impermanence creates the suffering that burdens your heart," the Buddha replied. "Embrace the truth that all things, whether joyful or sorrowful, are transient like the water moving before us," he said. Turning to his disciples, the Buddha continued, "Stress often arises from our unwillingness to release attachments to what must transform. By accepting impermanence, you free yourself from the chains of fear and grief," the Buddha added with gentle clarity. The farmer looked at the river, his sorrow slowly softening as he began to understand its quiet wisdom. "Master," the farmer asked, "if change is constant, how do I find stability and peace amidst the shifting currents?" The Buddha smiled and gestured toward the riverbank where reeds swayed harmoniously with the flow of water. "See how the reeds bend and sway, adapting to the currents without breaking. They live in harmony with impermanence," he said. "Strength comes not from resisting change, but from aligning your spirit with its natural rhythm," the Buddha explained. "Loss paves the way for renewal, as the river carries away the old to make space for the new," he added. The farmer's face brightened as understanding dawned, his burden slowly lifting like mist in the morning sun. The Buddha touched the earth again, his connection to the present moment unshaken and profound. "Life is not a stagnant pond but a flowing stream. To remain still is to separate from its truth," he said. The disciples watched as the farmer rose, his heart lighter and his soul more receptive to the teachings. The Buddha stood, addressing his disciples and the farmer with a serene wisdom that permeated the air. "Loss teaches us to release what no longer serves us and to embrace what awaits beyond the horizon," he said. "The nature of the river reminds us to trust the flow of existence, for it carries us toward growth," he continued. "Suffering arises when we resist transformation. Peace emerges when we accept it with gratitude and compassion," the Buddha concluded. The river's waters sparkled under the sun, carrying the lessons onward to distant lands and unseen shores. The disciples bowed deeply, absorbing the profound truth that life's impermanence is a source of strength, not despair. The Buddha led them onward, his steps embodying the harmony he shared with all who sought his guidance. The farmer watched the group disappear into the distance, his heart renewed and his soul aligned with the river's wisdom. The day unfolded, each moment flowing into the next like the endless current that carried the teachings forward. The Buddha's words lingered in the air, etched into the hearts of those who had listened with open minds and open souls. The river whispered its eternal song, a reminder that change is not an ending but a beginning filled with possibility. As the sun sank below the horizon, the world embraced the timeless truth that impermanence leads to transformation and peace. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.